Welcome, everybody, to the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. I am your host, Ryan Harding, and today we have a special guest with us. His name is Jeff Demke. Mm-hmm. Known him for a couple of years now. Jeff's been in the business for about 5 years, and been doing real estate / also new construction and stuff like that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So he's great. Jeff's a good guy. In fact, we just did a recent home for him. You enjoying that home, by the way?
I am. I'm enjoying it. We've been in there for almost 2 months now. So it's made our first payment on it. So
okay. Hey, that's good. That's good. We like it when people make their payments. So that's good. It helps us out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, let's little introductions here. Tell us, how'd you get into real estate? Why real estate? Why not, something else? What drew you to real estate?
The first thing that really drew me to real estate, when I first got back from my mission, my dad was doing flips with his cousin, and this is before the market crashed in 2008, so this is about 2006. Doing a lot of flips and just buying and doing that, and that's where I first got into that might be interesting, and then the market crashed, and I kind of lost interest in it.
Gotcha. Sure.
And then just looking at ways to going through college and doing that. I did accounting and I hated every minute of it in college. I'm like, listen, I don't want to sit behind a desk all my life. And then I was like, real estate. Let's try that. And then work with my dad in flipping homes, and then unfortunately my dad passed away, but it was like, okay, that kind of that went out the window with that. But just always loved buying homes and being my own boss, basically.
Sure.
Not having someone tell me what to do. I get to create my own hours, create my own schedule, and do what I want. So
obviously you must have, so it was a bonding time for you and your dad, kind of that time, hey, let's do this together, stuff like that. But obviously you liked it enough that you kept going with it.
Absolutely. Just helping first-time home buyers get into a house.
Sure.
When I first got married, I didn't have my license yet, but just going and looking at homes was just so much fun. I'm like, this is what you get. This is your job, is showing people homes.
Wow, this is cool. I like
cool. This is easy. I love that. There's a lot more work to it than just showing homes, but it's like just to help people get into their home and their excitement, and just that's a big landmark for a lot of people, is owning a home, and it's brought a smile to my face when I bought my home, and I was thankful for my realtor at the time, and
sure.
And it's like, well, let's bring smiles to other people's faces.
I like it. And obviously you've been doing that now for 5 years, right?
Yep.
So what kind of buyers do you work with? I guess, all over the place, first time, move-up buyers, stuff like that.
Mainly first time buyers is what I would work with. And then with interest rates and prices going up, those are few and far between, just because they just can't afford it.
Sure.
It's hard with this market. They're just not able to save. They don't have that equity that current homeowners have that they can put down on a house. When you're trying to show a buyer a home and they were having to go $10,000-$15,000 over, and they don't even have that money to begin with a down payment. Sure. It just kind of fizzled out with first-time home buyers. They still can do it. It's just there's just not that many. You know much about that.
No. Okay. Well, so staying with first-time home buyers here, what advice would you give, first-time home buyers? What things do they need to know about buying a home right now?
Well, I'd say the first thing is just talking to you, talking to a lender, and just seeing what they can qualify and what you would recommend doing.
Sure.
They're all trying to save money, but the prices were just going so high each month that if they weren't saving $5,000 a month,
it's going to make it hard. Yeah,
they're not saving anything. In fact, they're losing.
Sure.
It'd almost be better if they could get in faster through a certain loan program. And that's where it's like, talk to a lender.
Sure.
And just see what you can do, what you need to do. Yeah. Because that's who I always refer to as go to the lender. I'm not the finance guy. Even though I did accounting, you're doing the numbers. You have the final say. So you're the professional in that, and I'm professional in showing homes. So talking to a lender is by far the number one thing you have to do when coming to a home.
Which I would agree with that. No, because the goal I have, I guess, when I meet with clients is to give them that roadmap, right? Mm-hmm. So that they know, hey, which direction should I go, or do I need to pause and wait because I need to save, or maybe I need to pay off some debt, or maybe I need to do whatever, right? So no, I think that's wise. What again, sticking with first-time home buyers and stuff like that, do you see any big mistakes first-time home buyers make, or really any buyers, I guess?
I think the biggest mistakes that home buyers do is they listen to people that aren't in the business.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I like
mom
that.
and dad. Like back in my day, I bought this house for $50,000. Well, that was what, 30, 40 years ago?
Sure.
You also had 12% interest.
Sure.
So,
sure. Yeah.
I mean, like they get it from outside sources because I guess they just don't have enough trust in us. They just don't know us long enough, unless it's someone from our lives that we grew up with. But if it's someone that we just met, yeah, they take outside advice more accurate, or they take that advice more than they take it from me. Because I've had a lot of clients who just said, we're going to wait for the market to crash. And it's like, it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's get in as soon as you can. Trust me, get in. And they just don't listen to the advice that they're given from agents.
Which, you bring up an interesting point, because obviously, I'm always going to trust my mom and dad more than I'm going to trust, somebody else, right? I mean, that's just kind of what it is. But having said that, mom and dad don't always know. Mom and dad are not in the industry, right? And that's what you're saying.
Yep.
And maybe the last time they bought a home, it was a lot more, the process was different. Maybe it was easier, maybe it was harder. And so they're remembering, their one transaction, whereas you and I do, countless transactions in a year, right? So like, and we're a little more involved in this industry, right? So that's a very good point. So I guess, how do you develop that trust? I mean, because your advice is more accurate, right? And even though they'll say, well, hey, he's just trying to sell me something, and obviously, there is that. I mean, that does exist, right? I mean, you are a commissioned agent, but Sure.
I mean, we're all guilty of trying to have that commission breath, where you want that sell, you're going to say whatever is going to get you the deal.
Sure.
And that's kind of what sets me apart. Is like, I'm not going to push you if this isn't the right house for you. If this isn't what's right for you.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I shoot myself in the foot doing this, but
Sure.
I'd rather have you be happy than locked down in a house for 30 years because I was greedy and wanting commission.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I feel like agents need to just be more honest up front and trustworthy. And sometimes we do have a bad rap for just pushing people to buy things or sell things because we want the money.
And so that's that bridge you have to gap, that gap you have to bridge, I guess, right? Which is to develop that trust. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, I know what I'm talking about. I love your mom and dad. They're good people, I'm sure. It's just in this situation, I might know a little bit more.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, no, I like that. I like that a lot. Sticking with this, what are there any myths out there as far as buying a home right now that you want to talk about or put to bed right now?
As far as myths go, I mean, I don't know if this is a myth necessarily, but just like with the market crashing, we're in a bubble. This is 2008 all over again.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't have a crystal ball by any means, but I'm not seeing that happen in Utah, at least. I mean, the demand is so high. We've had so many people moving to Utah because it's a great state to live in. Everybody loves it out here.
Yeah.
That the demand is there, but the supply is not. We can't keep. We've been talking about that for the last few years, how we cannot meet the demand.
Yeah.
And we can't build homes fast enough. And then all of a sudden the interest rates go up and everybody's like, oh, there's a crash. There's a crash coming.
Sure. Yeah.
I was like, I personally don't see it. I don't know about what you're seeing on your end, but the demand's still there. It's just, it's slowing down now because the market's changing a little bit. But I'm not seeing a crash personally.
No, and neither are we. At most, I think you're seeing a little bit of a shock to the market, a little bit of pullback maybe, depending on how high your interest rates go. Obviously, that will lessen demand to some degree. But as far as a crash, no, we're not predicting a crash either. It is very different. I was doing loans back in 06, 07, and the type of loans we were doing were very different than now. And obviously
you had to do a background check, but right now,
I mean, a lot more stringent now, right? But like, it's just very different. And again, back to your point of supply. Back then, we had too much supply, not enough, well, we had a lot of demand, but then when the demand stopped, we had so much supply that's what caused prices to fall so much. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've just been in this habit for the last year and a half, 2 years of just like competing with 20 different offers on one home, that now it's like, oh, I don't have to compete. Oh, I don't have to get to that home this Saturday if I want to put an offer in. It's I have time, and we're not used to that time. You know, agents are freaking out because my home hasn't sold. It's been on the market for two weeks. And it's like, that's okay. Like, usually a healthy market's anywhere between like 2 to 3 months on the, for it to go under contract.
No, I heard another realtor told us, you know, is like, hey, we're going 150 down the freeway, you know, now we're down to 90, right? You know, so like it's still fast, you know, but like it's just, it has slowed, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, hey, is it still a good time to buy? You know, yes. You know, as far as, I guess, common myths, you know, that I see a lot of times is, you know, hey, you have to have a lot of money down and stuff like that, which you still don't, right? You know, I mean, like there's a lot of different options where you can do 0 down still, 3% down, 5% down, and so that's probably one of the myths that I see, I guess, you know, on my side, I guess.
Yeah, I see that too, where they think they have to have that 20% down. They don't really, and that's where it's like, go talk to the lender first. He will clear all these things up right away if you just talk to the right resources, not mom and dad, but the right people. They will tell you.
No, I agree. And to your point too, you know, I've been doing loans for a long time. You know, I'm not really going anywhere, and you know, my kids will eat whether you do a loan with me or not. It's in my best interest just to take care of you. You know, and if you buy now, great. If not, hey, that's okay. You know, I mean, we're here long term. We're here to help, right? So. So, shifting gears a little bit, you've gone into a lot of new construction recently, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us why, you know, why would a buyer want to go new construction versus, you know, buying an existing home right now?
Well, with what I'm doing, I have a partner, Jared Berry, at Presidio Real Estate Hive Collective. He introduced it to me. Basically, what we do is we go and buy our own land, and then we build a home on there, and we get a buyer for that. But when you go with new construction, you get to pick and choose a lot of the things that you want in the home. The carpet, the paint. I mean, paint's easy to change even when you buy an existing home. Same with carpet, but like cabinets, floor plan, you get to pick it, and you're the only one that's lived there, which is great because no one else has lived there, and you don't know what the previous owners have done. And then it's new. Everything's new, and if it breaks, it's typically under warranty. And so that's what's nice about new construction is it's new, it's fresh, and it is, you're the sole owner. That's personally why I like new construction. It's easier for the home buyers. I mean, the downside is you have to wait 8 to 10 months, possibly 12 months. And then with the inflation going on, it's like, oh shoot, lumber just went up another 20,000. What's going on? So
does new construction tend to be, you know, at market rate, or you know, a little bit below sometimes, I guess? You know, you said inflation and stuff, so if they lock in a price earlier, you know, tell us about pricing for...
and it just depends on, like, if you're going with builders, certain builders, I mean, Edge, Arrive, Flagship, all these different builders, some of them will lock in the price, they won't change it. If you go with more of a custom home builder, sometimes they'll raise the prices. It all just depends on what builder you're going to go with. But yeah, like, I mean, I know with Edge, they've been really great to work with. They've been amazing, and they lock in the prices. They don't change even if inflation goes up, goes down. It is what it is. And usually when you get into a home, you'll lock in your price, and by the time it's completed, you'll usually have anywhere between $20,000 upwards to $50,000 in equity. By the time you move in. Which is great. Even though you're not going to be able to use it, but it goes towards that PMI if you're close to getting rid of it. So that's a benefit of going with new construction.
So new construction's been good for you. You know it. Okay. And you're building the homes you're building right now are out in Tooele. You're doing some spec homes.
So we're doing some spec homes out in Tooele, and just Yeah, just trying to. Basically, what happened is inventory was low. The best way to get inventory is to create it yourself, and so it's like,
agreed. Yeah.
Let's build it.
Yeah.
Let's just go out there and build it, and then we can sell it. So.
And the Spec Home, tell if somebody doesn't know what a Spec Home is, what is a Spec Home?
So a Spec Home is basically the builder makes all the selections.
Okay.
They pick the appliances, the countertops, cabinets. The floor plan, everything.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending on where we're at with it, we'll let the buyer choose the paint and flooring, carpet.
Gotcha.
But usually, they don't have a lot of selections. Everything's already picked out.
Okay.
So a Spec Home it's a brand new home, but you just don't have any options to really choose from.
So when does a buyer normally get involved on a Spec Home? When it's how far out from completion?
It can vary, but usually it's after four-way, basically before they put up the drywall. Everything's been ordered, and so so about the time drywall comes on, they'll list it, and they'll list it with those options that have already been selected.
Gotcha. And once drywall's up, how far out from completion?
Anywhere between like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
8 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 months.
Okay. Just curious. All right. So why? So if we got anybody that's a potential home buyer and stuff like that, why use Jeff Demke? What sets you apart, Jeff?
Part of it is just the listening and just looking out for the best interests of my clients.
Yeah.
I'm not that pushy guy that wants to get that sell. Like I said earlier, it's more of just. I'm here for you. I'm going to look out for your best interest. I'm going to make sure that you get the home that you want, even if that means waiting a year. And I've done that with some of my clients. I'm still doing that with my clients, and they're taking their time. And I don't want to rush them because, hey, you know what? This is your choice. You have to live with it. Yeah. I don't want to be the one that force you into a home. Even though sometimes I wish they would move a little bit faster for their own sake, but that's their choice, and if that's what they want to do, I'm going to let them do that.
I like that. No, and I think I can tell that. I obviously, having worked with you for a little while, I can tell that. That's, you do care, right? That's what I think is important as a realtor, right? And just a human being. Take care of people, try to do good for them, stuff like that. So, well, any last thoughts? Anything we didn't cover that you want to cover before we go?
No, I think we hit everything that I was planning on talking about. So,
well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming on, and thanks everybody for listening. Like us on Facebook, on the podcast area. Subscribe to our channel. Write us a review if you can. Obviously, we'd love those kind of things. But we'll see you next week. Thanks.